Let's lose his form.
Man, let's go!
Users of psychedelic mushrooms have turned into zombies, I mean infected. When reached for comment, Naughty Dog's CEO says, quote, "They're not zombies, there were hundreds of guys tripping balls out in the streets. The bulk of the zombies seem to be homeless doesn't seem to have spread to most because psychedelic mushrooms they can't afford joy in life. The remake of The Last of Us Part 1 2 Remastered is just released. A remake of The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered for famous critic Video Game Donkey was mobbed in the streets for enjoying The Last of Us Part 2. Naughty Dog HQ was destroyed by rioters after The Last of Us Part 3 calling themselves the Fireflies have claimed responsibility for inciting attacks on Naughty Dog HQ. Look for the light. Not like that, you know what I mean. Join the Fireflies. We both know you've got nothing else going on. Why are we called the Fireflies? We could have had a way cooler, scarier name. Welcome to the year 2033, where most of the world population is dead or so high that they basically are too.
You tripping, bro. You tripping.
We follow the story of Joel, a man who is so Texan that he walked 2,428 miles from Boston to Salt Lake City on only a diet of broken scissors and rubbing alcohol. And Ellie, who is an average resident of London. Joel must escort this girl, who he is not related to, across the US.
You're not my daughter. And I sure as hell ain't your dad.
While not being caught by the camera crew of To Catch a Predator. This game is all about the story, interesting characters, and prison shifts. So let's break down this remake of a remaster of a great game from 11 years ago known as The Last of Us. Since this is a remaster, the main selling point is the graphics. Only the graphics, everything else is the same. The former of Wii Part 1 is a good looking game, especially for 3 years ago. The physics are pretty realistic most of the time, which really amplified the experience. When Joel picks up resources, he knocks things over on the shelves. Popping out from cover with your gun knocks things over. Even though this game breaks some of the most basic immersion rules, it still does a decent job. The HUD lends to this, only taking up a tiny fraction of the screen for pretty much the whole game. I felt invested a lot more than some other games, so the final of them Part 1 gets a pass. I've played plenty of survival horror games by now, with plenty more I want to play down the line. El Último de Nosotros was definitely later in the craze, but it stands out enough to be memorable. You have to conserve your bullets like every game, but you also get crafting. You can't craft bullets, but you can craft knives, Russian children's toys, medkits, and Texan leisure activities. You have a wide variety of resources to craft these things, such as delicious drinks, cloth, coke, broken scissors, and Texan coke. You can also use metal to upgrade your guns. Let's have Joel demonstrate. Okay, somehow wiping off the tube of the shotgun increases the amount of shells it can hold. You can also take a wide range of pills to make yourself hear better and your hands less shaky, in case you didn't know real drugs have the opposite effect. You have a wide variety of guns to play with that fit into either short or long gun. The short guns are pistol, big iron, shotgun pistol, and the El Diablo, or whatever it's called. What is this gun even called? Al Pacino. The long guns consist of rifle, shotgun, bow, assault rifle, and Texan barbecue. We're eating zombie tonight, kids. Aside from the questionable upgrades Joel is applying to his guns, the name of the game is realism. All these little details like the physics and the lighting and the puzzles are very realistic. There's nothing supernatural or magical or futuristic about The Last of Us, it's just survival. Joel isn't your usual superhero protagonist, he's just an aging man trying to live through the apocalypse as long as he can.
You get fucking old.
Easy. It's gonna happen to you, too.
Trying not to think about his dead daughter. All of this realism applies to the gameplay too, making it feel very grounded overall. The stealth is way more interesting than any other game, even though it's still so simple. The enemies feel really balanced with their intelligence. They're not stupid or omniscient, just somewhere in between. They can lose track of you after you get spotted. They check corners instead of just walking around them. To kill from stealth, you grab people who haven't noticed you yet. Then you choke them out or knife them. The grab mechanic is really important in every part of the game. You can use it to kill people, but you can also walk around and shoot after you've grabbed them. This lets you take a grabbed enemy as a hostage and stalling your enemies from shooting you. You can also throw things at enemies, then grab them, instead of grabbing them from stealth. If you mess up the stealth, break out the guns. In The Last of Us, you can snipe, blast, and burn your enemies. You have to aim to be able to shoot, which definitely isn't what I'm used to, but I adapted to it as I played. When you start aiming, you're inaccurate, but you become more accurate the longer you aim, and some weapons are more accurate than others. Headshots are a one-hit kill, which is a good way to save bullets. It's a very simple third-person shooter with few enemy types and an emphasis on mid to long-range combat, a lot like other console shooters. If enemies do get closer to you, you have melee weapons. You have normal, sharp, and upgraded melee weapons that all have a certain amount of durability. Normal melee weapons usually kill enemies in 4 hits. Sharp melee weapons kill enemies in 1 hit. Upgrades can be applied to any melee weapon and give you 1-hit kills for a certain amount of hits, and if you have no melee weapon, you can punch. You can also parry enemy attacks. It's not the usual parrying, but I think it's close enough that I can call it that. There's a lot of games with great gameplay, but not the best story.
How can this be?
Few have both, some have one, and most have neither. Even though The Last of Us has some decent stealth and gun combat, it's clearly not the most relevant part. Throughout the entire game, the actual game takes a backseat to the story. The story is the most talked about part of The Last of Us. It was revolutionary when it came out, 11 years ago. So the question now is, does it hold up?
Oh, why are these all stuck together? I'm just fucking with you.
Yes. The plot isn't all that special, it's just a man escorting a child. And even the world building isn't amazing. It's fun to learn about the military takeover of the planet, the revolts, and the fireflies, but it's nothing too special. The main part of the story is really the characters. This is the first game where people actually act like people.
I think it's stuck. It's not.
What? No. Oh, haha.
You'd think that would be commonplace today, but
16 times the detail.
there's also very few characters in The Last of Us. 2 main characters and like 8 other side characters. This really helps because it makes the characters they have feel like they matter more. Overall, The Last of Us is a simple third-person shooter that forever raised the bar for narrative in video games all the way back in 2013. With realistic stealth and gunplay, satisfying progression, a simple plot, and the most interesting and realistic characters. The Last of Us went on to inspire generations of games about sometimes serious men escorting children.
No thanks, bro.
It felt a little stale having played games with a similar storyline before, but it's not Naughty Dog's fault that they struck gold and nothing is original in this industry. It makes sense that they turned this into a show, since this is basically a show, with quick time events and an M-rated amount of prison and gun violence. This game's story wrapped itself up so well with the perfect finale, and I'm so glad they decided to hit it with the golf club.